right, guys, man, I think the world would be a better place if the only amps were ever invented for guitar would be a Tweed Deluxe or like a Deluxe Reverb. I mean, I'm telling you. Today, I'm just wanted to discuss why I think pedals just suck. I mean, now I don't hate pedals. I have pedals and I do use pedals sometimes, but I always feel better without them. And there's a couple reasons why. I mean, the first thing is like you really have to learn how to use an amp to begin with, and that's why I was saying it would be better if the world just had just simple amps like a Tweed Deluxe or something for everybody to play, because you really learn the dynamics of the amp and the guitar. So depending on how hard and soft you're playing, and then just using the guitar controls. I mean, so many people today, they just forget that these guitars even have controls. They just leave them all on 10, and it just is annoying. So it'd be so much better if people learned how to actually kind of manipulate the amp and the guitar to kind of get the sounds they want. And for me, I always thought playing without pedals, it just connected me more with the amplifier and just the guitar itself. Like when there's pedals in the way, especially in the way of like an audience, it's just another thing blocking you from the audience. It feels like I'm disconnected or something. I mean, maybe I'm just weird, but that's the way it feels for me. I feel like it's easier to kind of sing and perform without having to worry about something else kind of blocking, the magic going between me, my soul, the guitar, and the amp. And, other thing about pedals is I've noticed guys kind of at the jams and stuff, like every time, I mean, they must be so used to playing in their bedrooms, and then they come out to the jams and it's just like their tone is just so saturated that you cannot even make out the notes. It's not great. And I know it's just kind of a green thing. So, you try and help these guys and you just give them encouragement, because it takes a lot of cojones to get up there and, put your music out there in front of people. So, you got to give them credit for that. But again, I wish they would just learn to kind of use, just start with a clean kind of basic sound, and it's going to cut through the band, more than this super saturated thing with the pedals. I mean, you stomp on one of those tube screamers and it's just, you cannot make out the notes. So it's always going to cut through a lot better the cleaner you are, it seems like, at least in my opinion. And, I'm playing roots music. We're playing like blues, old country and just American roots music here. So we're not doing high gain shredder stuff. So yeah, today we're working with just 330, 1965 330 Sunburst. Beautiful Sunburst, man. You got to check that out. And we got our Deluxe Reverb in 1966 back there. I'll show you guys some settings on that. And we're just plugging straight in with the chords, so there's nothing in the way. And these are kind of the sounds you're going to get with it. And then kind of at the end, we'll just talk a little bit more about just why I'm just hate on the pedals. So to me, there's just so much more beautiful tones, and it's just so much more organic just going straight into the amp. You don't have to worry about like anything in between. And the gain thing, it's just like a lot of times there's just too much gain. And, I have a pedal board. Maybe I'll show you guys that in like a different video, and we'll kind of go through what I use. But I try not to use them. Like the thing is I do like a blues jam, and then I also do like my own band. So it's for the blues jam, I bring no pedals. There's like no reason to. And then my own band, I have a pedal board, but I rarely kind of, step on them. And if I do step on pedals, it's usually it's like set it and forget it. So like it's going to be a more distorted kind of overdriven song. I'll just leave on the overdrive and for the whole song. And like, because it's always hard to change once you're kind of going and the volume kind of changes. I mean, maybe I'm just not that good with pedals, but to me, I'd rather just use the volume and it kind of brings it up naturally. And then, certain pedals are cool. I have like an Univibe. That's kind of fun. I mean, you can't really get that out of an amp, although the tremolo is pretty cool too. It's similar, but when you want to do like the Jimmy thing, it's fun. And then delay. Delay is always fun. The delay amps don't have delay, but you have to have reverb. So I'll forgive you if you have just a reverb pedal. I got a couple sitting over here, a Flint or I got one of those Boss reverb pedals that I really like. The brown ones that are good. What is that? 63 FRV one. Yeah, I think they discontinued those, which is sad because like that's a great sound, and that's just a turn on, set it and forget it thing. And then the other thing about pedals is like you never know when they're gonna fail, and it seems like they're always failing. Like whether you're running out of batteries or they're just one of the connections is bad. It's just a nightmare when that happens, or the settings get hit and the gain. It's the worst thing ever when somebody like I was playing with some other guitar players and you throw them a solo and the first thing you do is they bend down and like fix their pedals rather than think about the music and the song that's going on. So it's just sort of a drag. There's so many times that the pedals get in the way of the actual music being played, in my opinion. So when you want to use pedals, start with the sound of the amp. Start with learning how to use your amp correctly, and then hopefully you won't need pedals. And if you do, it's just to kind of just nudge you over just to improve the amp sound. And that's always what I'm going for. I mean, the pedals I use, the overdrive, I have like a King of Tone. And the thing about that is it sounds just like the amp if I just had cranked it up. So if this thing was on like 8 instead of 5, that's what the overdrive sounds like. So, I mean, we can kind of get into that. I'll show you a little bit. Let's crank up the amp a little bit. So, I mean, that's all you need right there. I mean, how much higher gain do you want than that? So, what I'm trying to tell you is like, if you are using a lot of pedals, just take them out of the chain. Try it without the pedals. And so, let me know. I mean, are you a pedal guy? Are you not a pedal guy? Do you feel like better without pedals? I know I do. But sometimes you got to use them. And the other thing is I'm doing my own band. I sing and I play, so I can kind of get away with what I like. If I was playing for somebody else, maybe I would have to use pedals. It's totally fine. But I think for the most part, most people, well, I can only talk for myself, and I'm a musician, so maybe my opinion's crazy because the way I hear music is different. But all I can say is that I don't like the sound of pedals. So let me know what you think in the comments. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time.